we do have some news, which is been breaking recently. You know, it's good when Fabrizio Romano tweets about it as well. So let me go down to it. So Hugo Viana, the current sporting director of Sporting, has been linked to a move to Man City as the current Man City director is off. He's leaving at the end of the season. Hugo Viana is supposedly the number one target. Richard, what are your thoughts on the potential move?
A little bit out of left field, I guess. I wasn't expecting him to leave anytime soon, but I also get that he maybe wants to move onwards to other things, and he's done a pretty decent job at Sporting. I just don't like that it's Man City because, like, you know, have fun trying to recruit players in friggin' National League, buddy. You know, you're gonna be recruiting guys. You're gonna be in League 2 next year, probably. So have fun with that. But jokes aside, like I get it. He's looking for a step up. It's a career move. Man City's a very well run team. They've definitely got the money to entice anybody to want to go there. So I don't have any like real strong thoughts on it. Like it's just a rumor at this point. Like Fabrizio's kind of been way off with a lot of his sporting rumors the last year. Like he's been way off base with some of the stuff, and it's just like I don't know. I'll wait till we actually see something more concrete. Because he was the one who kept saying like Ioannidis is to Sporting is done, and Amorim's done at the end of the season, and Jokeres is going, and none of that happened, and like it wasn't even close. None of that was even close to happening over the last year. So I'll wait and see till something actually comes out before trusting like one or two Fabrizio Romano tweets.
Yeah, fair enough. Chris, what about your thoughts on Hugo Viana to Man City?
I guess it doesn't. It doesn't shock me that he's making a jump. It feels like Man City is like close to like a big shuffle, right? It's like they're like, you know, their dynasty, you could say, is like slowly like I don't want to say like they're gonna be bad, but like the players and obviously the manager, I think his years are numbered there. It feels like they're gonna have a big shift. But is it this season, next season?
When does that transition come?
Yeah, so it's like I don't know exactly what the timeline is. So I don't even necessarily think that, let's just say Pep leaves at the end of the 25-26 season.
Okay.
This rumor might quiet down. But because it's quieted down for a year and a half, it doesn't necessarily mean that like he's not, it just means that like the timeline isn't, exact. But like I could see this like just being dormant news for months on end, and then all of a sudden in like 18 months it pops up again because like they're actually doing it.
Now we actually need to make the moves.
So I think that he will probably be in the running for similar type roles at other big clubs, the top 12 in Europe, right? Roughly. So yeah. I've shit on him many times. I think his work in the last like year and a half is much better than his, first 2 years in the role. There was definitely like a learning curve as well. I think the players like him. I do always appreciate that he is down for a little shit house. You put him on the touchline, and he's gonna jab. Says you can say
he's gonna get a little. He's gonna
run his mouth a little bit in the tunnel. He's got that dog in him. Which just in general I respect from anyone. So yeah, and I'm pretty complimentary of Hugo Viana these days.
Yeah.
Well,
I agree with
let me give you my opinion, which is the opposite. I think he is the most overrated director of football of all time.
You think he's just an agent?
He's an agent merchant?
Yeah,
I think let's look at the timeline. So before Amorim takes over, he brings in players such as, so I won't give him the 18 transfer window because he was appointed in September, so we can forget about that. But let's say for the 1920 window, he brings in players like Yannick Bolasie. He brings in players like Jesse Rodriguez, Valentin Rossier. You've got Eduardo Enrique, Rafael Camacho.
A guy who had no idea what he was doing.
Yeah, that was a guy who was just throwing stuff at the wall and hoping it would.
And also,
I like to think that he's improved from those days, though. You know, he's learned a little bit.
But you say learn. Rafael Camacho has made the highest paid player, and he still was, even with players like
up until like a year ago.
Yeah.
And the reason I say this bad stuff about Hugo Viana, I do like him now, but look at what happened to make him good. Ruben Amorim came in. Ruben Amorim said, I want this guy, I want this guy, I want a player like this, player like this. That's when Hugo Viana improved. So is Hugo Viana director of football? Is he being good, or is it Ruben Amorim's leadership?
Who's the straw that stirs the drink, essentially?
And for me, if you look at his previous actions, it has to be Ruben Amorim running the strings. But also, at the same point, I guess you could say Hugo Viana was the one, if you believe Arandis, I believe that he said that he was the one to tell him to go get Amorim. So you could argue maybe that's a saving point. But at the time, still, you have to remember the most expensive coach in world football was Ruben Amorim.
Yeah, I do want to say that as well. Like, let's look at some of his more recent hits, right? Gyökeres, Humeland. Those are all really expensive players.
Like not
17 million. 20, I mean, that's not money that Sporting was even able to spend 5 years ago. So, if your average player price is doubling, you're in theory going to be able to get better players, right? I mean, it's more impressive to sign someone for 1 million and then have them work out to be amazing, right? It's not like Humeland was some unknown player, right? He was the captain of the
guy who played in Serie A.
Sure, he was lesser known to your average fan, for sure. But he's the captain of a Serie A team, right? He's not like a secret per se, He's not playing in some favela or some the Serbian amateur leagues or some random shit, right? He's a well-known player. So Gyökeres was playing in the championship. He was, the leading scorer on a team that almost got promoted, right? That's not again, it's not, the most well-known thing ever, but it's not a secret exactly either. So is a lot of his success just it's easier when you have that kind of money, Yeah.
Yeah. Because I'm looking at the year he was bought in. So it's the transfer window after. So Vieto bought in 11 million pounds. And the reason I bring this up, 11 million euros, sorry. The reason I bring this up is a lot of people who are, I don't know what the right word is, but are more sort of pro Verandas, pro Hugo Viana are always, we didn't have any money. What did you expect? That's their number one talking point, where it's we had such a bad time.
Money. We just spent it very poorly. We had some money. We just spent the little money we had very poorly.
11 million on Vieto. Fair enough, you could take that out of Jelson's fee, so I guess that was technically free. But on transfer market, 11 million euros. Andres Barras, 6 million. Rossier, 5 million. Rafael Camacho, 5 million. Eduardo Enrique, 3 million. Jesse Rodriguez on loan for 2 million. And then you've got the wages of Bolasie. Fernando was another one who came in as well.
Never played a game for the main team, by the way, Fernando. Just want to point that out.
Yeah, that's 0 for 7, all those transfers.
In terms of sales as well, when you look at this, Rafinha, 21 million. I mean, we made profit, fair enough, but he went to Leeds and Barcelona for record fees.
Wendell left and we made profit, but that wasn't really a him signing.
Bastos left for 7 million. You got Bruno Fernandes there as well, to be fair. But then Jonathan Silva leaving, Domingos Duarte leaving. I think the Turkish guy left as well. What's his name? Demiral. Yeah. So, man, I don't know. I just think, my personal opinion, I think he's been saved with Ruben Amorim.
A lot of what happened in those years, 2018, 2019, 2020, it's memory hold, right? It's as if it never happened, right?
Yeah.
And that doesn't just apply to Hugo Viana. I think that applies to everyone at the club, including the fans, including us, me.
Yeah.
Right?
Definitely.
So everyone's sort of getting the benefit of the doubt of that,
Yeah, it was post Alcuchet, and then COVID hits like a year later, right? Like, or 2 years later.
Yeah.
Like it's a weird,
And then we win the league.
not fun time. And then they win the league out of nowhere, almost going invincible. Like,
Mhm.
and to be fair,
Yeah.
a lot of the signings they made, like Nuno Santos still with the team. Fidal coming in was integral on the team. Adan for a lot of that season. Still not the greatest goalie of all time, obviously, but had some key moments that helped them win the league. Who else am I thinking? Like Potts coming in, even though it was the Varandas 50% special at the time. There's probably one other one that I'm missing. No, I think that's it. That's all that's coming to mind. But like,
Trincão came that summer.
Trincão didn't come in that year. He came in a couple years.
He came in the year
later.
after.
The year after, like, good signs that were integral. And then you do look at the work, like Trincão coming in. Obviously, Trincão had a bit of a rough start, but like, what do you expect from a guy who got outcast from Barcelona, had such high expectations, that ends up at fucking Wolves of all teams? Marcus Edwards was a good transfer, especially for the time. I think you look at the hits even for this season. Like,
I'm just saying,
obviously
you've got the GOAT and Tunes for the
Antunes. I forgot how.
Oh yeah, true.
Antunes. Oh, Antunes. I'm sorry, brother. You're my guy. I loved you. Yeah, but like, good signings for that. I he's had more hits than misses since then, I would think.
yeah.
Arturo
And to be fair,
Arturo Cabral or Gomes or whatever his name was aside, like,
yeah, but he still scored that goal against Spurs, so pretty much made the money
scored
back.
that goal against Spurs, and people are still like, he's the GOAT. And I'm like, I've never heard anything. As someone who watches the Brazilian league, I've never heard anything about him.
No.
So
I will say though, despite my criticisms of Viana, he's going to be put in a position where it's almost impossible to not do well with.
you've got to try to self-sabotage for a team like with that type of those types of resources almost.
The scouting teams they have, of course, Pep Guardiola has a great life of talent as well. Even like their youth academy, City's youth academy is still very good, like one of the best in the country with some of the players that have come up. So to be fair, I mentioned all that about Hugo Viana. He's going to have a much better scouting team than he did when he was in his first few years. So, but I like him. Don't get me wrong. I do like Hugo Viana, but in terms of his job, I will not forget the years before Amorim, and it would be interesting to see what happens if Amorim were to leave next season and Hugo Viana stays. Do the transfers continue to be as good, or do they continue, or do they go?
Yeah, do we get as many hits as we've had? Do we get a few more misses? Do we get like so-sos? Like, what do we get with that? What if both? That's the question. Then what do you do?
Yeah, that is a good point. It's probably a possibility at this stage as well, because as much as I do love Amorim, he did seem awfully quick to try and get on that plane to West Ham.
Yeah, crazy.